Hello, everyone, and welcome to a GameStack podcast right here on We Just Love Games Network. And Shalene, I'm just noticing that our cameras are all wishy-washy.
I'm sorry.
I thought I had checked that. Let me just quickly fix that. How are you
Is
doing,
that
Shalene?
I'm terrible actually.
Okay.
As you can probably tell, I've got a cold. Um, yeah, this was an adventurous week. I had a work trip and the conference hotel was all sold out, right? So I ended up staying in this super bougie hotel, which was really fun, right? But somewhere along the way, I've caught the plague and I'm tired and I sound terrible. I know I sound terrible.
Well, I'm
And I
glad you're here
apologize
to
for
still
that.
do a show and stick it out with me.
Yeah, we're trying. We're doing our best.
um, well, welcome to everybody coming in for the live recording this evening. Your best little corner of the internet on a Friday. We hope that you all had a wonderful work week. We've got a lot to talk about on the show tonight. It is going to be a pretty quick show. It's been a slow news week, but Shalene and I have a lot of gameplay that we want to talk about as well. You're listening to episode 163. It's a wonderful life. And I am your co-host Vendertron, and joining me also is the lovely Shalene this evening. Don't forget, the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase of that blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Don't forget to tell your friends about the show. Encourage them to navigate to our live recording page so that they can watch the show every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. And if you navigate to the About section in our Twitch page, you can click on the link to have access to our community Discord. We would love more people joining in on our Discord. It is such a good community, and I look forward to checking all of the channels that I follow regularly on a daily basis. What's going on in the Discord this week, Shalene?
I'm sure a lot of stuff. I'm not prepared for this. Um, let's see. Somebody posted like the Pokemon as astrological signs in the astrology channel. It was fire and gasoline. And I thought that was a really fun time. I am a Taurus and mine was the I've forgotten what this Pokemon is called, but he's the one that grows like a little flower on his back. It's very cute. Um, and that was a fun
I'm an
time.
Aquarius, and I love
Yeah.
that the Bulbasaur, or no, the what is it?
Bulbasaur, that's what I was trying to
Not
think of.
not Bulbasaur, the War Turtle. No,
Uh
Blastoise,
Squirtle.
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 I love that the Squirtle is wearing cat ears and little cat paws. It's so cute.
Really cute. Really, really cute.
Yeah, the Halloween theme is lovely.
Yeah. It was a fun time.
Act first, think later. Sounds like me. I'm definitely more of a um ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For
Hello
sure.
to our lovely listeners coming into the chat this evening. Vod, Makeshift Hero, Moxie86, Blame Russo, Taz, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Yeah, we're gonna kick things off with some news this evening. We are also going to talk about the stocks and how those have performed over the last week, as well as a bit of information about the Activision and Microsoft changes to the stocks. As well, we have some screenshots and stories, some good mail, and also Shalene and I have a ton of gameplay to talk through. So let's hop right into it with this just in. And take it away, Shalene.
As always, shout out to Joseph Chow. We really appreciate the help every week putting together our news. Our first item is that Wizards, is it Wizards of the Coast? Is that the company here? Um, anyways, the Magic the Gathering company, I know very little about Magic the Gathering, you guys. They've released Fallout themed cards, and as little as I know about Magic the Gathering, I want all of these cards just like as a collectible item because they're awesome.
They
I
are pretty
love
good.
them. They're so good. Um I really like these. The style is great. They're in like Fallout 4 art style. Um, there's a Caesar's Legion pack as well, which I think is really interesting. There are a bunch of different types that you can get here that you can pre-order. And there's a Scrappy Survivors deck. It says this 100 card deck introduces 38 never before seen magic cards featuring fan favorite characters, thematic game mechanics, and art that explores the post nuclear alternate reality world of Fallout. There is a Mutant Menace one. It's got the Mothman on the cover. And of course, I mentioned the Caesar's Legion one. There's also a science pack that's got like an institute scientist on the cover. And then there are collector boosters slash booster display. Now, these are available for pre order. They will be releasing on March 11th, March 8th, on March 8th. And they're kind of expensive. It's $45 for what they're calling a commander deck. And I know that all of you Magic fans are out there screaming at your phones or whatever right now because of my ignorance, but I fully acknowledge that I know absolutely nothing about Magic the Gathering.
What does a commander pack entail?
It's the 100 card deck, 100 cards. So
So, okay.
I that's all I know about it, Thunder. I'm sorry, I've got nothing more for you there.
So that's like
On
$2.20 a card.
it's pretty expensive. I don't know. Um, the booster box is 12 packs, which is 180 total cards. And this is unavailable right now. So they've already sold out of that on Amazon. Who knows if they're going to be able to get more of that in. But I think you can probably, I think it's going to be really cool for the people who do play Magic. It makes me interested in Magic. This is all it takes to get me wanting to check it out.
No, no. Oh. Steven's not a magic guy, is he? I don't remember. I don't recall. As Shalene's hacking up a lung.
I'm sorry. No, Archon doesn't play Magic either. I think he may have tried it once or twice.
Well,
But the card styles are great, and I just want these as a Fallout collector, you know?
yeah, they do look pretty good. Um there was a time when I was collecting bobbleheads. I feel like magic cards would be a lot easier, cuz you could
Mm-hmm.
just put them all in a neat little book and that will be it.
Yeah, have a little binder. We need to have like Rick or Tim or somebody on the show who's knowledgeable about Magic. I know Rick plays, and I think Tim has like a billion binders of those cards. So one of these days, we'll get some experts on the show.
Hmm.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any comments on Magic the
Yeah,
Gathering, having never
I'm.
played it.
Yeah,
I've spent about 5 minutes of my life thinking about it, and
really,
and four of
all I
those
can do
minutes
is say
include
that.
this new segment. So
All I can say is that they look really cool. They look really cool. Oh, Joseph Chow included a bit of commentary on this. He says that he hates that he wants this so bad. I understand, Joseph. He also says that there's supposed to be Assassin's Creed ones coming out in the future, which would
oh,
also be
that's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. So our
that's really
next article.
it's really smart. I mean, they're gonna get
Yes.
people from outside of the genre, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I'm sure people will buy these just because they're a cool Fallout collectible,
yeah, and they're not actually gonna
like
play them at
me.
all.
And no, but maybe they will play them and discover that they love Magic the Gathering, that it's a
Yeah,
really fun game,
yeah,
and then they've got a new convert just like that.
just like that. That's how it happens.
So our next article is a gamesindustry.biz article by Jeffrey Rousseau. And according to this article, Phil Spencer has stated that Call of Duty exclusivity deals will be no more. Um, of course, in the past, in the 360 era, there was always exclusive 360 content for Call of Duty, and then after that there was PlayStation exclusive content. But Phil Spencer says, according to a recent appearance on the official Xbox podcast, I don't want you to feel like there's content you're missing out on. That's not the goal. And we have no goal of somehow trying to use Call of Duty to get you to buy an Xbox console. To me, that feels a little disingenuous. I don't think you spend $67 billion on a company to share it with your competition.
69.
$69 billion. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I'm sure he means well, but I have a hard time believing that that's true. I don't trust that for a minute. Thoughts?
Well, I think they've already got a dedicated consumer base, player base, that's for sure. And I think that player numbers are going to be a better indicator of the overall customer satisfaction from the pool of people that already play the game. You know, and I think that why abandon a ship that's floating so well when it's a good moneymaker? But at the same time, I think it's time to phase Call of Duty out of the limelight. If we think about the history of Call of Duty, it's actually a significant part of the reason why the gaming industry has been up until, you know, the last 5-10 years so male dominated.
I mean, I don't know about that. I I don't know about that, but I do think it's highly unlikely that these games will be phased out. They still sell like crazy.
Yeah,
Anything that
I
sells
think that
gangbusters like that is going to keep selling.
I think
And
putting it
why
on the
would you
back
admit?
burner and not having exclusives is fine. I
It's
mean,
a good thing.
I'm tired
I
of
just don't
looking at
believe
Call of
it.
Duty and hearing
I
about
just
it.
don't believe it. That's all I'm saying. They said that they were not looking at making Bethesda games console exclusive, and look at the immediate release of Starfield that was exclusive. So, did you add this next one in, or am I having amnesia?
No, I added it in. I forgot I was going to send it to you, but it's
Okay,
timely. So,
cool. So this is a PC Gamer article by Harvey Randall. And according to this one, Phil Spencer is open to breaking the seal on some forgotten games. Um, so this thing is done. You know, they own all of these Activision IPs.
mm-hmm.
And it looks like Phil Spencer is wanting to look into some of Activision Blizzard's older catalog, not just their current cash cows. Uh, and according to this interview, I believe it's the same interview we referenced before.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that with Game Pass, we have the ability to pick a couple franchises every year and almost do like a revisited version. I just made up that term. When you look across the franchises that are part of our teams, there's an opportunity to go back. The reality is that there is a huge catalog to cover. Two of gaming's biggest companies merging for a second time with Microsoft. It's miles of fertile ground to dig up for remakes and remasters.
Follow New Vegas. Follow New Vegas. Sorry.
Spencer said, I want to make sure that when we go back and visit something, that we do it with our complete ability, not just create something for financial gain or a PR announcement and not deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a wonderful news. I love to hear that.
I mean, the ears of every gamer out there perked up when he said that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because like how many old games that have been sort of unsupported or discontinued or never supported to begin with could be resurrected in a different way or brought to a newer console. How great would that be?
Okay, so just having Googled Activision Blizzard franchises, they own Pitfall. I would love to see a modern Pitfall. I would love that so much. Crash Bandicoot, of course, would be a big one. Spyro.
Yeah, Spyro's still has a huge following.
Yeah,
Yeah,
would love to see Spyro
yeah.
brought back.
Hmm.
I do apologize for my voice, you guys.
Just let me know when you want me to take over the news, or do you want me to take
Okay.
over the news from here?
Uh, I'll take this next one. I really want to
Okay.
talk about it.
Okay.
So the Wii U has charted on the sales charts recently with an sale.
What?
According to this GameSpot article, uh, a Wii U was sold during September of 2023. That is the first new Wii U to have been sold for 16 months. And the last time that one had been sold in the US was May of 2022. And of course, this is new units being sold through a retailer, not secondhand, not online, auctions. It's new through a retailer. And I just think that's really, really funny. Um, Matt Piscatella is someone who tracks this type of thing, numbers, sales numbers, that kind of thing. And I thought this was so charming. I'd like to find that person. Like, do you listen to the show, person?
I
Are you
bet
the
you,
one who bought a new Wii U?
Shalene, I bet you double or nothing. It's a typo.
I If this person who bought the Wii U is by any chance a listener, please write in to info@wejustlovegames.com and let us know what you're playing on your new Wii U. We'd love to hear about it.
Brilliant.
We'd love to chat with you.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take over because I'm struggling.
Well, for those of you who like Mass Effect 5 speculation is fluttering about on Twitter, but it might be totally unrelated. A fairly single innocent tweet from a developer working on the next Mass Effect has promoted further speculation about the still mysterious project. Chris Evans, character technology director at Epic Games, posted on Twitter via an IGN asking anyone creating games with hashtag metahumans in hashtag UE5, what are some challenges you would like us to tackle in future releases? And Michael Gamble, the project director on the next Mass Effect, replied with a GIF of a Solarian from Mass Effect 3 DLC Citadel, which, for any of you Mass Effect fans, I mean, you'll understand that. Um,
Have you played Mass Effect, Vendor?
no, but I know that you and Jess are big fans, yeah. It was already confirmed that Mass Effect 5 would use the new Unreal Engine, but it's not much of a stretch to conclude that the game will incorporate metahumans tech. There's other details about the project that are mostly speculative. A reveal trailer was shown off at the 2020 Game Awards. Keep in mind that was 3 years ago, depicting the fan favorite character Liara picking up a fragment of N7 armor on a snowy world. And since then, almost no details have been revealed about the game, its narrative, or its structure. And BioWare has put out teasers on a roughly year basis. That includes also in the past images of spaceship crew approaching things like craters or on foot, and also a space station that could be a mass relay. Previous teasers have released on November 7th of last year, so it's possible that another one is on the horizon in the coming month. So keep your eyes peeled for that. What are you thinking about Mass Effect, Shalene? Mass
I
Effect
mean,
5.
of course, I want another Mass Effect game, and I want it to be amazing. At this point, BioWare has gone through so much turmoil
Yeah.
that I'm not sure they've got it in them to make another one that would ring true in the
Mm-hmm.
way that the prior ones did. And I feel the same way about the Dragon Age series as well, which of course I'm deeply invested in.
Yeah. Well, speaking of investing in things, we know how Netflix and Amazon are trying to break through into the gaming industry, and Disney is being pushed further to move into that space as well. Disney CEO Bob Iger's deputies are reportedly pushing him to consider acquiring a major game publisher like Electronic Arts. And this is according to a Bloomberg feature that examined the current state of Disney, claiming that senior executives want Iger to explore the possibility of transforming the company from a gaming license to a gaming giant with major first party capabilities. Bob Iger said, he's a pretty non-committal type of leader, especially when it comes to the prospect of acquiring video game publishers. But he's now in his second run as CEO of Disney, and he oversaw the acquisitions of things like Pixar and Marvel Entertainment, Lucasfilms, 21st Century Fox, and also working on various Star Wars titles, including the Respawn Star Wars Jedi series, which EA announced last year that it had struck a deal to make several new games based on the Marvel properties, including Iron Man and the Black Panther titles. EA was actively pursuing a sale or merger in the wake of recent M&A activity in the games industry, such as what we know, Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision. But when it comes to EA, they had held talks with Disney, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast over potential sales. But their earnings call last summer, the EA CEO Andrew Wilson was asked about the reports that the company was pursuing a sale. He says, "First, I'm sure you don't expect me to comment on rumors and speculation from some small red media outlets," he responded. "But be that as it may, I would tell you I think we are in an incredible position. We're soon to be the largest standalone independent developer and publisher of interactive entertainment in the world." He also added, "I think we're growing across platforms, we're growing across business models, and across geographies. In a world where gaming is becoming more important to the lives of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who will be the leading generation in terms of consumption, entertainment for the future? I don't think we could be in a stronger position as a standalone company." And of course, most of that sounds pretty much like lip service, but I feel like Disney hasn't particularly made a concrete move when it comes to stepping into the gaming industry in a more forward-facing manner. What are your thoughts on this, Shalene?
I think an acquisition by Disney would make a lot of sense for them, a lot of business sense. Um, I think their franchises have not necessarily been treated with the respect that they deserve by developers,
That's
and
true.
to me, it makes sense to take control of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Disney is a pretty massive company, right? And I don't know. I'm curious to see where that will go. I'm trying to segue to this next article, but it's riddled with ads.
Sorry.
I, I,
Um, I will take it.
I got it. I got it. Something about Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the wrong article. It's like wrestling. I don't
I
know.
will take it. So, Netflix subscribers can check out some new video games in a limited beta trial, according to this USA Today article by Mike Snyder. We've reported before on Netflix dipping their toes into the gaming industry. For example, games were made available on mobile devices in 2021. Now, Netflix is expanding games to smart TVs, smart devices, and personal computers, the company said in a Monday blog post. Netflix began a limited beta trial of games for Canadian and UK subscribers in August, and this trial is now beginning to roll out in the US. Having video games as additional content is seen as a way by supporters of games at the streaming company to keep subscribers on board as the monthly streaming fees increase. Netflix is currently working on a game based on Squid Game, and future games could be based on its shows such as Extraction and Black Mirror. And the company is considering a game based on the popular Grand Theft Auto franchise,
Mm,
according to the journal.
mm-hmm.
How do you play games on Netflix? Anybody with a smartphone can play them now for free as part of their subscription. And if you are invited to join the limited beta trial, you can play using Amazon Fire TV devices, Chromecast with Google TV, LG TVs, Samsung Smart TVs, Roku, etc., etc. And you use your phone as the controller. For games on Netflix.com played on PCs and Macs, you can use your keyboard and mouse. The first two games in the test are Oxenfree, um, and Molehue's Mining Adventure, which is a gem mining arcade game. Do you think that games are going to be an important part of Netflix going forward, or do you think this is kind of a waste of everyone's time and money?
I don't know. I mean, if we rewind this time last year, I think it was like less than 1% of Netflix users were actually
Mm,
accessing its gaming content. Um, but I see what they're trying to do. I recognize that it's not an easy thing to achieve, and it has been a long time coming for them to gain any sort of traction on building a gaming space within the Netflix universe. I've played the Stranger Things mobile game in the
mm-hmm.
past, and I loved it. It was fantastic. So I mean, they make a good game, but I'm not entirely sure if the bulk of the Netflix fan base are necessarily people who also play video games.
Right.
I mean, they're really only, I think, like, there's obviously there's going to be people who play games and love to watch Netflix, and that's probably the majority of gamers, but not the majority of Netflix users. um, so I don't know.
I think it may be a bit of a waste of time for Netflix to try and be all things to all people. I kind of think they should maybe step back and look at what they're doing and run a little leaner instead of all this bloat.
Yeah, I mean, I did like some of the things they've done in the past where they had interactive watching sessions where you could,
Mm-hmm.
choose your own adventure in like Bear Grylls, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I do kind of wish that Netflix would just say stay Netflix and stop increasing or finding reasons to increasing their subscription price.
Yes, agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
yeah, I don't know. But
Okay.
they're doing what you would expect of any other company. They're trying out different things to see where they can make more profit, right? But
Throwing all the spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
I think that this is a bit of a dead horse. Like I don't think they're gaining traction on this. They've been trying to do it for like 5 or 6 years now, and it's just kind of there.
Yeah. So this is kind of a stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And our last article comes from the universe of Alan Wake. This is an IGN article written by Taylor Lyles. Flashback is a Fortnite experience that recreates Remedy's iconic story. And so Epic Games have announced Alan Wake Flashback, a Fortnite experience. And the new trailer was released, announcing on the 17th, announcing that Fortnite players can now check out the Alan Wake Flashback Island by entering in a specific code at no cost. And yeah, the launch comes 10 days ahead of the release of the Alan Wake 2, the long anticipated sequel, and is ideal for Fortnite, for those who play Fortnite and are interested in Alan Wake 2, but have yet to play the original game. Remedy released Alan Wake Remastered in 2021 for modern consoles. The Fortnite experience, while brief, is a nice recap for those who don't have the time to play the original and want to just get caught up before playing Wake 2. This promotional tie in, though, is not necessarily unsurprising, Lyle writes, as Epic Games and Remedy have previously worked on various projects in the past, including launching a publishing label in 2020 and the Fortnite maker serving as the publisher for Alan Wake Remastered and Wake 2. So, yeah, I mean, you've played Alan Wake, haven't you, Shalene?
I have. I loved Alan Wake. Like it loved Alan Wake. I'm really, really excited to play Alan Wake 2. And um this would be a great way to recap the Alan Wake story, like an interactive way to
Hmm.
recap the Alan Wake story. But also I would have to install Fortnite. So I've got mixed feelings about it. But I do, it's been a very long time since I've played Alan Wake, and I may have to check this out as a way to just refresh my memory on this story.
Yeah, of course. Well, that is our news. Let's hop over into the stocks. Sony closed out at 83.19, down $1.96. These prices are in comparison to last Friday's show. Uh, Microsoft closed out at 326.67, down $1.06. Nintendo down 15 cents at 10.07. Take Two down 2.25 at 140.58. Ubisoft down 38 cents at 5.59. EA down 385 at 127.44, and Tencent also down at $36.42, down $2.58. Activision, ironically, has remained unchanged. But that's not because the stock has necessarily remained unchanged. We know that the $69 billion acquisition of Activision on Friday last week by Microsoft pulled off history's largest technology deal in the face of lots of regulatory hurdles that Microsoft is facing. The companies confirmed the closing in filings with their Securities and Exchange Commission. Activision stockholders will receive $95 for each share of Activision they owned prior to the close. Bobby Kotick will stay on in his role to the end of 2023, which we had talked about in our previous episode. And this particular deal closed after the UK's Competition and Markets Authority said that its concerns over the threat of competition posed by the deal were resolved. The acquisition, particularly when it comes to Microsoft stock, is purely speculative at this point, but businesses and their advisors should be in no doubt, and this is quoted by, Sarah Cardell, who's the chief executive of the CMA. She said businesses and their advisors should be in no doubt that the tactics employed by Microsoft are in no way to engage with the CMA. Microsoft had the chance to restructure during our initial investigation, but instead continued to insist on a package of measures that we told them simply wouldn't work. And this deal really, I think it puts Microsoft in a better light, I think, for its shareholders. I wouldn't be surprised if we see in the next few weeks the stock price to start to increase. But I'm curious what the next few years will look like for Microsoft. I don't know. I mean, they're sitting around the $327 mark. So, but we've seen Microsoft stock as high as $450, especially during the pandemic. Anyways, that is the GameStack segment. And let's talk about MailStack.
You've got mail.
And Shalene, can we do the most recent MailStack? Because I feel like we got more responses on that one.
Sure. This one was from somebody named Vendertron. And it says, which video game item would you wish to exist IRL? And I'm going to go through some of the community responses. RTZ says, I currently have a cough, and in Starfield, there's a medicine that cures lung damage instantly. That one.
I feel like right now you would also
big
want...
same
yeah,
RTZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel you, brother. Fire and Gasoline says, I think I'd like a stealth boy. Would be fun to drop in on some people.
A stealth boy without the psychosis, right?
Right.
without the effects.
No Lily thinking she's our grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
Vaccinator says a Warframe from Warframe, preferably Gauss. I believe those are like a mech situation.
Yeah.
Not super familiar with that. RTZ says in response to Fire and Gasoline asking for a stealth boy. I'm trying to think if there's a game where you can stop rewind time as a game mechanic. That would be it. It's called Life is Strange, the first one. Um, Fire and Gasoline says Link in Breath of the Wild can rewind time by a few seconds.
And pause time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Vodka Knockers says any video game item or map that permits fast travel to places you've already explored. And this has 5 up votes on this one. So that's a very popular response. Frankel's Kanina says, yes, this. I am so done with traffic.
Yeah, I mean, she lives in England, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Um, Fire and Gasoline says, how about sleeping for 15 minutes and getting the you feel well rested perk? Green Camp says, one item, a Sage's Stone, which is heal party, reusable Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior. It doesn't cure poison, decurse, debuffs, or diseases, or raise the dead, though. Well, that's
Goodness.
disappointing. I wanted to raise the dead. Makeshift Hero JKR says spell tomes that taught me actual magic. That sounds like a fun time. I'm all for that. Imagine if I could just learn Fireball. Um, Jessica Starr says a Pip Boy or a quest journal. Imagine an item that automatically logs everything you need to do so you don't forget and sorts by importance. That comes with a larger inventory than you could ever normally carry, and biomonitors that can diagnose what the heck is wrong with us. Phones and Fitbits try, but we're definitely not yet there yet.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What would yours be, Vendor?
You know, I gave this a little bit of thought today. It's a tough one. Like, it would be really handy to have like a stealth boy or some sort of item that could freeze time or, you know, crush the hearts of my enemies. But the greedy bastard in me really just wants the bell trees from Animal Crossing.
Right.
I just want to plant $10,000 in the ground and have $30,000 grow out of the ground. What about you, Shalene?
Mine is gonna be probably I think I would want to go with something like the bobbleheads from Fallout that would increase my stats, like something that would give me +1 strength or +1 intelligence. And yeah, I think that would be really useful just to increase my base stats. Let's do that, please. Yes, thank
You
you.
don't want the perfectly preserved pie?
I mean, I already have the perfectly preserved pie,
That's
so
is true in real life. Yeah, you do.
uh-huh.
You do.
Yes. For newer listeners, some years ago, Vendor made out of, was it like polymer clay?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Made a replica of the perfectly preserved pie. It's a perfect replica. Um, and it's a treasure to me. I love it.
uh yeah, like there's so many good video game items that I would just love to have.
Yeah, I also would like something that increases inventory space
Yeah, like
because
the backpacks
mhm,
in fall, like if I could just carry every single piece of my belongings here in my backpack, it would be so nice.
I have to be very careful with my handbags because I tend to overload them, and I've actually injured my shoulder before by carrying too heavy of a handbag. So something that increased my inventory
Yeah,
would be great.
you got to stop walking around with those muskets, Shalene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you never know when you're going to need one.
I'm trying to load up. I have a screenshot that I wanted to include that I forgot, and I'm trying to load it up and it's not working. I'll have to include it next week. Or maybe I could just show it on here. Can you see that? Maybe?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
That's intense.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'll just do it on the screen. That's our mail stack, yeah?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Stay
How
tuned.
can the people send their own mail,
Yeah,
Thunder?
you can send, you can post in the MailStack channel in our Discord. If you need access to the Discord, go to our Twitch page, twitch.tv/We Just Love Games, and you can get the access to the link in the Discord. The MailStack channel is usually where people post their questions or their messages, and stay tuned for next week's show when we have a new story or question coming in. But let's move along with the show to screenshots and stories. What the community is playing. Well, Shalene, I'm the only one that submitted screenshots and stories this week, but I'm not disappointed because it is just Apple. It is just pictures
Apple
of
is
Apple.
everything.
So,
So
yeah. So this week in Animal Crossing, my villagers decided that they were going to elect Apple Chief of Security. And so I gave her a little police uniform, which is basically just a bulletproof vest that says police on the back, and it's got a little badge on the front. And this is a picture of her getting all up in the camera lens, but I've got a better one of her here, this next one, which is adorable.
I
Here
love
she
it
is,
so
standing there with her
much.
little outfit, and she's got a sandwich like any good police chief will, or security chief would have. Yeah.
For our audio folks, if you're not an Animal Crossing player, Apple is a teeny tiny little hamster. That's some important background knowledge. She is a tiny hamster and she is pink, and I love her.
She's adorable. I don't even know, like she's just so cute. And yeah, she was pretty happy about the hat too. Shalene, you gave me some police sunglasses, aviator glasses,
Yeah,
and a hat as well. So, oh, I got the photos here.
I'm glad she liked the hat.
Yeah. And then the next image, so Biff ended up leaving my island.
And
Um
Biff was the hippo, right?
yeah, Biff was the hippo. He was the buff gym type, always
Yes,
talking about
Jim
working
Bro
out and
hippo.
stuff. He was kind of cute. I liked him, but I was kind of annoyed with him because I was really tired of just getting wrestler outfits all the time. So,
Brilliant.
yeah. So I ended up. He was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about leaving, and I don't know. I'm not sure." And I'm like, "See ya, bye." So Biff is gone, and Dottie is our new resident. This is Dottie. I ran into Dottie on a mystery island that I went to, and she's super adorable.
Dottie's
And
a cute little bunny.
yeah, she's very cute. I do have two other screenshots that I wanted to add. First is this one of Link in ladies' clothing. Look at him.
Yes.
So I went to Gerudo Town in Breath of the Wild, and in order to get into the town, you've got to have female clothing or women's clothing. Because the whole town is all women and they don't let men in. So if you're dressed in a masculine sort of outfit, they don't let you through the gates. So I had to wear this sort of like tube top with like a lacy like face mask with jewels that
Hmm.
are all encrusted in these cute little slip-on shoes. So there he is standing there with Riju, I think is her name.
Right.
She's the leader of the town, and yeah, I got the special helm, the
Yes.
helm from the divine beast.
I think it's called the Thunder Home.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have another picture. This might be light spoilers for anybody having not played Super Mario Brothers Wonder, but I wanted to share this epic screenshot. This is just in the intro.
That is
Uh,
pretty extravagant.
So it's not any screenshot from any particular gameplay. It's just the intro of the game, but it was just so cool with Bowser in the background in his big floaty boat thing, and then all of his little minions down below, and the vines like
Right. Yeah.
eating, grasping, and yeah, it was really cute.
This is very exciting. Tell me more about this tiny caterpillar man.
The tiny caterpillar man is Prince Filion. Prince Filion, I think.
He's awfully cute.
I made a note. Prince Florian.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's I don't know who this character is. It is a new Mario character, and I'm unfamiliar with him. But he's sort of a companion. He like rides along in your
Okay,
hat.
that really makes me want to play this game.
Yeah, you wait till I talk about it even more. You're gonna love it. If you would like to submit screenshots and stories, please do so to our screenshots and stories channel in the Discord. We love to see what our listeners are playing, and share your screenshots, and we will shout them out on the show and talk about them. Yeah. Anyways, that's screenshots and stories. We might as well move on into our last segment of the show, what we both have been playing. And of course, I've been playing some Animal Crossing, as you do. And my movie theater, I'm happy to report, is coming along nicely. I have a concession stand as you first walk in to the little part where I put the theater in. I've got some blankets down. I went online and I searched for a design of some blankets. So I have a red and a green tartan style blanket with tassels, and then I put some Zen pillows down.
Nice.
Except I ran out of Zen pillows, so I put Mom's pillow and a whoopee cushion.
That's so funny. Did you get the popcorn and soda set that I sent
the
you?
I put the popcorn in the soda set down, and there's also a popcorn machine and a snack stand. So, and then I'm slowly ordering floor lights because I want to like put floor lights all along, so it
Yes.
looks more movie theater esque. But yeah. My island, unfortunately, is still sitting at 4 stars. Isabel wants more flowers. That woman, she just wants flowers all the time. And I don't know if I can handle any more flowers. There's just so many flowers already everywhere. So I think what I might do is I might build up a top portion of the island and just
Mm.
fill it completely with flowers so they can't spread.
Yes.
Yeah, I might do that. Or I might, have a I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm
But
gonna
you can
do.
fence off an area or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. But yeah, as I said, Biff moved out. He is now gone. It was kind of sad actually because I loved Biff. He always wore sport shades, but because he was a hippo and his eyes were on the side of his head, they never actually
Right.
covered his eyes.
So
So
funny.
he was really cute. But I'm glad Dottie is in town. I haven't really got a chance to know her yet, but um, she's really cute. What do you think of her? She's
Oh, I think she looks adorable. I
yeah.
feel like she would be very polite.
When I walked in and I seen how nice her house was, and like this is exactly how I would decorate her house, I'm like I knew I made the
Mhm.
right choice, right? So yeah, so I hopped into Zelda Breath of the Wild this week. It's been a while since I've played the game. Um and yeah, I headed out to Gerudo Town, which is sort of a it's part of the Forbidden City quest, if you're familiar. And as I said, it's an all female town. There's no entry to men, or Vo as they call them. And I get to the entrance of the town, and Benja tells me that there's a guy who somehow got into the town gate entry. And just to backtrack a little bit, I ventured beyond where I should have, in scaling the cliffs. Like I left sort of a different area, and you know, after almost freezing to death, I glided down and traversed into the desert. Running out of food, I come across this oasis called the Kara Kara Bazaar, which was like the best feeling ever because I was like dying of heat stroke in the middle of the desert, and this oasis just appears out of nowhere, and
It's
there's just
brilliant.
water everywhere and people with like mounds of meat at stalls, and fresh watermelons and mighty bananas, and it was just like the best thing ever. So I did do some shopping, and um, the big guy, Linde, was there. You know Linde? He's like the big
Was
boulder.
he a Goron?
Yeah, so I think he's a Goron. Yeah,
Hmm.
he was there, so he sure gets around. I did buy some provisions though because I did want to cross the desert into this forbidden town, and you needed to make sure that you were prepared. But yeah, so I get there and Benja tells me that there's this guy who has somehow gotten in, and he's waiting for me, or he was waiting for him to come out. And I was like, okay, well, where do I find this guy? And because obviously I can't get into the town, right? And I'm like, well, maybe he's not in the town at all. So I go back to Kara Bazaar, and I'm like looking around, I'm talking to all the people, and then there was like this ladder across the water on the other side. And I'm like, well, I've never been up there. Let's go up there. So I climb the ladder, and sure enough, this guy is sitting there at the top. But it wasn't, he was like dressed in beautiful clothing.
Yes.
And yeah. So I ended up talking to him, and it was funny because I'm thinking, okay, this woman is um either has never, skipped leg day, or this is a guy. And it turns out that it was the guy that had escaped Gerudo Town, and he was ready to sell me some pretty clothes. And so I bought some clothes. I bought a nice outfit. I go back to Gerudo Town, and I walk right through the front gates like I own the place. It was awesome. So
That's great.
yeah, so I adventured around there, had some drinks in the bar, and petted some sand seals. I took a cooking class. It's very nice. And I also helped out the ladies of Gerudo Town, and I completed the Divine Beast of Noberus. And man,
Mhm.
what a cool puzzle that is! I
It
loved
really
that.
was neat.
That was
Yeah.
so great. If you recall, it's a giant camel-like machine just making its way through the desert, and you've got to move these rings inside of it that are like part of its belly. And the rings, like, by moving the rings, you can match them up with different entrances and exits
Hmm.
to the beast on the outside of the beast, and different rooms and things like that. So you've really got to think about how things fit together. And then the boss fight was actually easier than I thought it would be. I found it a lot easier than the Divine Beast of Rhoda, which is the Water Blight Ganon.
Right.
But this one was the Thunder Blight Ganon. It was a lot easier. So I finished that up, and then I tried to do some smaller quests. I headed over to what is that? There's like the Hidden Seven, the Divine Statues or something.
Right.
They're
Yeah,
like
I
in the
know what you're
desert,
talking
and you've
about. I
got to
don't
like
remember what it was
put the
called.
balls in the things. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I did that, and then I realized that it was just a shrine, and I was like, oh. So that was a little bit
Some of
disappointing.
those shrine quests are so intense for it to just be a shrine.
Yeah, yeah. So I would rather it just have been a shrine, and do this, because I
Hmm.
love doing the shrines. I think the shrines are great. But yeah. And so I went back to Kara Bazaar, and because I had this other side quest to make a chill elixir. And I go and I talk to Guy. Guy is this Rito bird dude in Kara Bazaar, and he's sitting on the rock, and he's like dying of heat. He's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm like, well, there's water right there. You could just go in the water, but I don't know, whatever. Um, and I'm like, great, now I've got to make this elixir. So I'm like, well, how am I going to find the pieces for this elixir? And I'm like, I know, I can go back to the watchtower, or the shrine that I was at on the edge of the Gerudo Desert, because there's a horse stable there,
Hmm.
and Beetle is there. So I fast travel back to the horse stable. Sure enough, Beetle is there. And I'm like, yes. So I could buy the butterfly wing or the cold darner fly,
Hmm.
dragonfly, that I needed to make this elixir. You got to combine it with monster parts. And of course, you can't fast travel back to Kara Bazaar. You've got to walk. So then I had to make the long trek back from the stables to Kara Bazaar. And I walk into the bazaar, okay? And you know who's sitting right next to Guy by the water? Beetle. He was
No.
sitting right there. I'm like, where did you
How
come
did you
from?
get here
I
so
went all the
fast?
way, and I went back, and you're just here. And like, you're telling me I could have just like waited for you to get here, and it would have been like, oh. So yeah. So anyways, I made the elixir, and he's all happy. And then I thought, well, this guy's a Rito guy. I'm gonna go to Rito Town, and that'll be the
Yeah.
next divine beast that I work on. So I headed across the map to um, Rito where the birds live in like this
Mm.
nested sort of house, tree house thing, which is really cool. It gave me sort of Ark vibes. Like
Yeah,
I
I
was
can
like,
see
man, I
that.
really want to build another treehouse in Ark. Um, and there was this little child bird just sort of sitting on the perch, the
Aren't the
the open
children
perch.
ones
They're
cute?
so cute, and she's sitting there. I'm like, okay, what's wrong here? She's like staring off into the abyss, like something is wrong. I need to talk to her. So I talked to her, and she's like, yeah. She's like, do you want me to tell you a story? I'm like, of course. I love stories. Tell me a story. And she's like telling me this story about how there's this mountain bird living in the big tree, and inside the bird's belly there's and then the dialogue stops, and I'm like, what is it? Tell me what it is. And she's like, I can never remember this part because I don't know. My grandpa always, I always fell asleep before this part. And then she just sort of like hinted like she'll never know because her grandpa is gone. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, I need to save you. Hop into my pocket.
solve the puzzle.
And so now I have to climb this giant mountain to get to this giant tree to find out what's in the bird's belly so this little kid can sleep at night and not have past traumas. Um, so I headed off into the mountains. Forget the divine beast at this point, right?
Yeah, well, that
Like,
plainly, it's more important that we heal this little Rito girl's heart.
right? So I head off into the mountains and I come across this cabin, and it was awesome. Like it was the perfect quest to do because um I had just finished a hike in the mountains in real life, and so I was all in the mountain hiking mood, right? So I go off in the mountains. Of course, it's winter, but I got a fancy feather jacket and pants and head
Hmm.
thing from the Rito people. And I came across this cabin, and I hopped into the cabin to check it out. And there was this little diary in there, and um, yeah, needless to say, I've got to make my way up the mountain trail, and it's a whole thing. Apparently, it's like super hard, and
Right.
so that's where I kind of decided to stop my gameplay for Zelda. Yeah. Then today, as you know, Super Mario Brothers Wonder was released,
I'm
and
so excited to hear about this.
Shalene, you know, I it's been a very long time since I've gone to a store to buy a video game. But I am adamant about buying physical copies for my Nintendo Switch. I love it,
Right.
right? So I go, and it was just the funniest feeling because I actually thought that the store was open. So I showed up at like 10 to 11, but they didn't open till 11. So then I'm sitting in my car waiting for it to open, and other people are sitting in their cars waiting for
Oh
it to open, and
no.
I'm thinking like, are those people like gonna buy Super Mario Brothers Wonder? I wonder. It was just so like surreal. I loved it. Anyways, I go in, and they have these things under lock and key. Apparently, it's like gold. And she opens the cupboard, and there's like 500 copies of Super Mario Wonder sitting in this cage, and she just like picks one off the top. Yeah. Anyways, so these are my first impressions of Super Mario Brothers Wonder because of course I spent the whole afternoon playing it. I got no work done whatsoever. Um, I hope my boss is not listening to this, but I will make up for it tomorrow. The intro is really fun. It's very quick. It's sums up the story of where you're starting out from really nicely. Um, the graphics and the art style are refreshing. It's a new take on Mario, and the graphics are really crisp, and the colors are new. Like it's a different color palette. Some of the items that you typically see that you expect to be like the classic red or something are just a little
Right.
bit different. So that takes a little bit getting used to, but the mechanics are really good. I would say that the character play is even more responsive than any other previous version of Mario, and pretty liberal, I would say. It's a lot easier to sort of jump around and move around. There are some really cute things. The elephant costume is the best.
Yeah, I'm
It's
so
so good. It's
excited.
so good that the elephant trunk like it flicks away the baddies and
Oh,
they
I
just like
love
fly
that.
off. They're like pew. Like it's just so it's the best thing ever. And yeah, it's got the same sort of jump that we know and love, like the yah wah hoo. So there's certain elements of the game that are still there from previous versions, which we would expect to see, right?
Right.
Um, Similar economy, right? There's going to be coins, and then the different colored coins, which are like more special coins. They've got this new thing called seeds, which are a different kind of currency, and I haven't figured out what those are used for. I think they can be used to buy certain items. There's little shops that you can go to on the world map where you can buy like one-ups and like different power-ups and things like that. The mushroom dudes are so dang cute. In the first few levels, anyways, they're sleeping. They're just sitting there sleeping, and their little feet are like up like this, and they're blowing little bubbles. And when you get really close to them, you startle them awake. It's super
So
cute. Yeah.
cute.
Um, the bumpy bricks are pretty cute too. Like we typically know them as being white, and you can bounce higher with them.
Huh?
Um, and from what I know right now, they're actually multicolored, but they actually play sound effects when you walk across them, like
Oh,
you're walking
nice.
across piano keys, which
That's
I think is
fun.
really cute. Yeah. Um, the talking flowers. Now we talked about the talking flowers in the past.
Uh-huh.
These talking flowers, Shalene, are very unusual. I don't know how to feel about them. They're like,
Okay, you're gonna have to give me more.
okay, so the talking flowers, they bring like a certain cynicism to the game. So
Really?
as you run past them, they will say little comments. And for the most
Like, are
part,
they talking smack?
sometimes they have a comment and it kind of catches you off guard. Like, um, um, I walked past one flower and it was like, and you know how like the the grabby flowers that come out of
Yeah. The
the tubes. Well, they come
I
out of the
forget what they're
tubes and they
called.
walk
Piranha
now, right?
plants. Oh, piranha plants have feet now?
They walk now. And so
Oh, snap.
I walked past a talking flower and it was like a walking flower. That's almost as weird as a talking flower. And I just like burst out laughing because it was just so funny.
That's
Uh
ridiculous.
yeah, so Nintendo, I think, they this is a totally new element that they've added to a Mario game. I've never seen this before. And it's kind of funny because there's a little bit of cynicism to it and they also make fun of it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's the talking flowers are growing on me. I'm not too sure about them still. If you don't like them, you can disable them.
Oh, that's nice.
So if you
That's
don't like
nice.
them to be talking, you can disable them. You can also disable the on-screen text, so you
Uh,
can just hear them talk, but you won't actually see what they're saying. So, but yeah, I don't want to go too deep into it for spoilers. That's just some high level um,
yeah.
impressions, but there's definitely little upgrades here and there. Like the animations are so good. Like they've rehauled it completely. Um, there is like when you're in this elephant suit, you're significantly bigger. So when you're trying to get into the tube, it's like you have to like, your
Oh my
character like
goodness,
wedges
that's so
itself in.
cute.
Yeah, it's super cute. Um, the maps are different. There is, for the first time, anyways, that I know of, you can free roam on a map
Oh, neat.
between. So when you're walking between courses, like you do on a typical Mario
You
map,
don't have to stay on the little path between one and
it
two.
depends where you are. There's certain sections of the map where you can free roam, and there's certain sections where it's like prescriptive.
Right.
But I was like, wow, this is totally different for them. Like I've never seen this before. So, um,
Sounds compelling.
yeah, I think overall the game, there is so much happiness in this game. Like even the bad guys are cheerful. And like it's like Mario on Xanax. Like if you bottled up all the positivity of like a pen full of puppies crawling all over you in a game, this is what it would be. Like
This
there's
is
just it's
great.
just like an overabundance of joy and cheer and happiness concentrated into this little game, and It's
So it sounds like
yeah.
this is everything we wanted it to be.
I You have to play it and tell me what you think, because it
Mhm.
is a marked difference from what we traditionally know Mario to be.
Right. Right.
And when I say that, I don't just mean like animations and mechanics. They've introduced and overhauled sounds. They've introduced um, and overhauled levels as well, and the side-scrolling aspect of what we know Mario to be has actually changed quite a bit as well. They've made the levels incredibly more immersive.
Interesting.
Yeah, so but yeah. Anyways, that is Super Mario Brothers Wonder, my first impressions. I'm excited for you to play it. It's super cute. There were so many moments where I was just sitting there laughing by
Mm,
myself and like, yeah. So,
that sounds wonderful.
what have you been up to?
Well, of course, as always, Animal Crossing is a way of life, not a video game. Um,
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Last weekend was the fishing tourney. So I was really excited about that. And I spent a few hours just grinding the fishing tourney. And I managed to get all of the prizes except for the umbrella. So
Oh,
still need a
really?
fish umbrella. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But I got everything else. I got a few extras. So if you missed anything, let me know.
I managed to get everything. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice,
Even the umbrella.
nice.
So,
Very
I
nice.
think my favorite is the fish pouchette.
Same. I love the
Pouchette?
little fish. The
Pouchette.
little fish purse is so cute.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
So cute. And I, of course, to do the fishing tourney, I had to put myself together a little special fishing outfit,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
the fishing vest and like a little fishing hat, and
Yeah.
it's all very cute.
Yeah, the fishing stuff is pretty good. I got to say it was nice to get all those things because I've been meaning to build
Yeah.
in a fishing spot on my island,
Oh,
and
nice,
now I was able to do
nice.
that. So, yeah.
And of course, today was a very important day on my island. It was Antonio's birthday.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Antonio, of course, is one of my favorite villagers of all time. And I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God, it's Antonio's birthday and I didn't get him anything. So I was panicking because I knew about his birthday like a week ago. And I had thought, well, I'll go to the catalog and order something good for him and he'll be excited. But I waited too long because it takes 24 hours for your catalog orders to come in.
Right.
That Amazon Prime. So what I did was I went through my recipes and I built him like a barbell because he's a jock villager.
Oh,
So I thought
okay.
he's gonna want to lift weights.
Yeah.
I'll build him some weights, and he loved it. He was really thrilled. So Antonio's birthday knocked it out of the park.
Nice.
Um, I'm still working on cleaning up those last couple of Fallout 76 achievements. I worked a little more on the Beckett quest line, and Steven and I launched a nuke last weekend, so that was a lot of fun. I had
Nice.
forgotten how much work goes into launching a nuke, but we had a really fun time doing that together. It was great. Um, and a couple weeks ago, I think I talked about a little game called Usagi Shima, and this is like a bunny collecting game. It's mobile. It is a free to play mobile game, and you have these adorable little bunnies, and the art style is very cute.
Why am I not surprised?
It's very similar to a cat game called Nico Atsume that I played very heavily about 10 years ago. Um, but, anyways, these bunnies are adorable, and I unlocked a hat merchant. So I have been spending all my currency on hats for the bunnies.
Oh no.
All the bunnies are wearing extravagant hats, and like my life is complete now. It's everything. I want hats for all the bunnies. um and the final thing is I decided to play Control. As you know, I really enjoyed Alan Wake. I'm very excited for Alan Wake 2, which is coming out here in a couple weeks. And um, I knew that Control had some connections to the Alan Wake universe. It's also a Remedy game, and I believe they had a direct direct sequel in the DLC for Control. So I've been meaning to play this game for a while, and I knew that I had gotten it for free at some point. I couldn't remember where. So I was going through all of the many launchers on PC and then like
Of
checking my Xbox
course.
library to
Of
try and
course.
see where I could find it. And eventually I found it on Epic. I had it for free on Epic. So
Oh, okay.
this is the first time I think that I've actually played a game via the Epic launcher.
Really?
Yeah, I unlock the free games on a pretty regular basis,
I
but I
thought,
never play them.
did we not, is It Takes Two is on Epic, isn't it?
Mm-mm, It Takes Two is
Oh, it's
on
Origin.
Origin,
It's
yeah.
Origin.
Excuse me.
I don't even
But
know what I have on my Epic Games launcher. Let me
so
fire this
far,
up and see.
Control is pretty stinking amazing. The controls and the physics do seem a little clunky, but it's not enough to get in the way of the experience. The physics are very funny because like your character will bump a table and it just like flies away like it has no weight to it.
Right, right.
But that's not an issue. It doesn't. um the vibe is very much like Alan Wake, like a Stephen King novel or an episode of X-Files, which I really dig. um
Nice, nice.
it's really interesting. This is a couple years old, this game, so I'm not going to worry too much about spoilers, but these are going to be some gentle spoilers for the very early part of the game. Um, there were portraits of the director of the Bureau of Control all over this building that you're in, right? And um, so your main character finds this director dead on the floor of his office. And
And that's how it
uh,
starts.
that's how it starts. That's the very
Perfect.
beginning of the
I'm
game.
already hooked. Yes.
So like she's got Jessie is the name of the main character.
Okay.
And Jessie has this voice in her head that is compelling her to do things, which sounds very healthy. And like she's talking to this voice and she's like, okay, you want me to pick up that gun? Are you serious? Like that's probably the murder weapon.
Yeah.
And so she picks it up and has this experience, and she's the director now. And all of those portraits of the director are now portraits of Jessie. As soon as you leave the office, the portraits are all portraits of her. And I found that to be incredibly trippy.
Yeah.
And there she doesn't offer any commentary on the fact that she is now in portraits all over this building. I thought that was really interesting. There's like the board that runs the Bureau of Control, and it gives me some vibes of like Cabin in the Woods, or I don't know if you ever watched the Angel spin-off show from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yep.
Do you remember the senior partners at the law firm were like these mysterious beings?
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I get from the board for the Bureau of Control.
Love it. Love it.
The game's very surreal and scary and intense, and you can pick up a lot of lore pieces that are really, really interesting. The combat is challenging, but not ridiculous, and it's fun. It's fun to play. Um, Something about the offices also gives me a bit of a Portal 2 vibe as well, like after you get back into the Cave Johnson area.
Okay.
But there's something mysterious about this building, about this gun, and about Jessie, the main character, and I'm here for it. I am definitely looking forward to playing some more Control and getting a little deeper into the storyline.
Nice.
And that's my gameplay.
Oh, great. Well, folks, that is a show for us this evening. Thank you all for tuning in for the live recording. As always, don't forget the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase of that blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. Find us on Twitter at We Just Love Games, Shalene at Shalene L, myself at Vendertron N. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/We Just Love Games, facebook.com/groups/We Just Love Games. And our Chat After Dark Discord can be accessed through twitch.tv/We Just Love Games, where we record live every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Don't forget, you can also access our show on various other podcast platforms if you like to listen after the fact. Of course, you can find our podcast on iTunes, iHeart, Apple, Google, and Spotify, as well as YouTube. Please
Yeah,
like.
I heart Apple too. She's my favorite villager, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Please like, subscribe, and review the show, and we will shout you out. Thank you all for listening. And Shalene, I will leave the last word in your very capable hands.
I'm going to steal this from Lee Benjamin in the chat. The talking flowers are growing on you? I think you need an herbologist.
Good night, everyone.